A lot of men who want to find a girlfriend or a life partner who's right for them are not aware of the opportunities they have to do so in 2021. So what I would like to talk to you about today, here in beautiful Bray in Ireland at the seaside, is all the various opportunities and possibilities that you realistically and practically have in 2021 to meet a partner who's right for you. If you are 30, 40, 50, 60 years old and you've either never had relationships or you've had some, but they just weren't successful, maybe you've even been married before, then maybe there is a degree of negativity that you carry around with you regarding this whole idea of dating. Now, a lot of people are very cynical, right? If you check the internet, you can see a lot of people saying, "This is why I quit dating in 2021. This is why I quit modern dating." It's the single most stupid thing that I've ever heard, because that essentially means you give up on the whole idea of relationships, because you have to understand that dating is nothing but a means to an end for most people. Now, there's a subset of men, 2 to 3%, who will keep dating different women forever, but that probably doesn't apply for more than 2 to 3% at max. Most of us, men, are going to find the greatest degree of fulfillment in long-term relationships and having somebody that you have an actual degree of compatibility with when it comes to your values, your goals, and also the way you want to live your life. Whether you want to come home at 5 p.m. and have family dinners, or whether you want to go explore the world and live in the outdoors, or you want to build an e-commerce business together, or whatever it may be. Now, this idea of "that's why I quit modern dating," maybe you've seen that on various social media platforms. This statement comes from a feeling of being hurt, right? And I understand that. I was hurt in past relationships. I'm not blaming the other person. I'm not saying she hurt me, because pointing the finger never really helps, assuming responsibility. That's where freedom lies. Because not only discipline equals freedom, as Jocko Wilkins, or whatever his name is, says, he was amazing, by the way, but it's also responsibility that equals freedom. But no matter who owns the responsibility, it is true that most of us have been hurt in previous relationships. So there is a degree of negativity and caution around it. Naturally enough, like Marshall D. Rosenberg, the founder of nonviolent communication, he talks a lot about needs. The same as Gunther Schmidt talks about needs. In psychology, a lot of the behaviors, technically all behaviors we exhibit as human beings, can be explained as means to meet certain psychological needs we have. And one of the needs may be to not get hurt anymore. Okay? Now, we're trying to protect the heart. But the problem is, when we try to build these walls around our heart, right? Let's say you're 30, 40-year-old or 50 or 60, as I said before, and you've been married before, and it was quite something, right? Not only did you go through a huge financial loss, okay, possibly, right? Can be quite expensive, but also emotionally. So you're naturally trying to protect your heart. You're trying to build these walls around your heart. Maybe you're going to be a little bit more careful. Some people are a little bit cynical. And people who get cynical, they also question this idea of, I don't even know if it's possible. I don't even know if I can find somebody who's right for me because X, Y, and Z. And then you're free to list all kinds of excuses. I'm too tall, I'm not tall enough. I'm not handsome enough. I'm too old, I'm not old enough. Whatever the case may be. I'm an introvert, I'm an extrovert, okay? All these excuses simply serve as a strategy to protect yourself from being hurt. They're basically walls that you are building around your heart. And it's completely understandable that you want to do that. It is completely understandable that you want to protect your heart. It's probably most of the time not even a conscious process. None of us goes ahead and says, I'm going to build metaphorical walls around my heart. Nobody does that. It just kind of happens because that's how intelligent our unconscious is. Now, the problem is, if I build these walls around my heart, I don't just protect myself, or rather I don't just keep the pain out, but I also keep the greatest joys out. Because, and this is where the mainstream is right, even though most people in the mainstream don't even understand the full depth of what they're saying. The mainstream says you got to be vulnerable, right? You got to open yourself up. And that is true, but they have no idea what it means. They have no idea that that still means that you have to improve your communication skills, as we spoke about in the last video, right? The 2% change that you have to be able to make, right? 98% of the work that you're doing is already done. But there's a 2% change that still has to happen, which is the communication, okay? A lot of people just believe, just be vulnerable. Just open yourself up and wait, and the right person is going to appear, maybe, somewhere on the water. I mean, let's have a look here. Look how beautiful this is. Maybe if we wait, maybe if we stand here and we use the law of attraction, then maybe the right person is going to manifest itself somewhere here. Well, it's not going to happen. You have to work on your communication skills and you have to find ways to meet women. But it is true that you have to, first of all, be vulnerable, okay? Be willing to get hurt a little bit in the process, okay? But it's not a lot of pain. Getting rejected by a woman when you invite her on a date, which will inevitably happen, right? Then you can blow that out and make it into a big drama, or you can recognize it for what it is, simple feedback, because there's only ever two reasons why you might get rejected. One is a lack of compatibility and the other one is communication. And compatibility can only ever be discovered and communication can be improved. Okay? So, the first step that you have to go through in order to recognize the opportunities that you have in 2021 in order to find a girlfriend or a life partner who's right for you is to become vulnerable. Some people might call it don't be a bee, okay? I'm not going to curse on this platform. But it's the idea, right? You have to be willing to engage in slightly unusual behavior if you want unusual results. And an extraordinary relationship is for sure something that is extraordinary. Okay? If you want a great relationship, that is for sure something that is outside of the norm. If you want to have a great dating life, that is for sure something that's outside of the norm, because most people simply don't have that. So, first step being, be willing to open yourself up and go out. Make the decision that 2021 is going to be your year in terms of dating and relationships. You can make that decision. Wayne Dyer has an amazing presentation, I'm not sure if it's still on YouTube or somewhere, where he talks about the power of intention. So the first thing is to make the decision to get out there, to improve your communication skills. So that's the one part. That's the mindset. Okay, mindset always comes first. Now, the second part is, what are the actual opportunities? Well, you have to understand that there's around 8 places, okay? We teach something to our clients, right, in our coaching programs from 11 different countries at this point in time. I like to drop that in there. 11 different countries, which is amazing, by the way. It is actually a global community of clients from people all over the world who've been successful with our systems in getting a better dating life and in finding a girlfriend and a long-term life partner. We teach our clients something that's called the 8P strategy, and 8P stands for 8 places. There are 8 places where you can go and meet women. Okay? One of them, obviously there's 2 broad categories into which all of these fall, one being online and the other one being real life. That's the only 2 places where you can meet women, right? It's either online or in real life. And there's so many different places you can go. You can go to dating apps, well, that's only one of them. You can go to Facebook, you can go to Instagram. You can use technically all social media platforms. Even TikTok can be used in order to meet people. Right? We've had clients who were successfully able to arrange dates through TikTok. Right? These are strategies we teach in our coaching programs. What I want you to understand is you have this whole world of online that's available to you. And I know you might be saying, dating apps, it has never worked for me, right? Well, the 3 things that you got to pay attention to, I mentioned it in other videos. Profile pictures, profile description, and your texting skills. These are 3 pillars that you can twist and tweak. I see it all the time. I have clients who work in the customer service support, others who are barbers, others who, build tech companies, others who went to the best schools in the entire world to do their MBA, right? It's like from completely normal to something extraordinary and all the way around, right? And the crazy thing is, these people who are amazing people, I really like them, okay? They are people who have been able to, achieve a degree of success in their life. Or stability, They've been able to look after themselves. That does not mean being flawless. I'm not flawless either. But they've been able to do a lot of things really well. But still, when it comes to their profile pictures, their profile description, and the way they text, they are oftentimes, in the beginning when they start with this, obviously in the end that thing is solved for them, evidently, because we teach it in detail. But in the beginning, they're oblivious to the mistakes they're making. They have no idea on how they come across to women. Okay? Now obviously that's in varying degrees. But people, so often, men in particular, are not aware of how they come across. So what we do is we do an analysis of your entire online profile, and that always creates amazing results. Now these are dating apps, and there's strategies on how to meet people in Facebook, in Instagram, right? Other social media platforms like TikTok, okay? Online speed dating events, okay? Real life. There's a lot of ways and a lot of places you can meet women. So there's basically 8 that we teach, okay? And the most important thing that I want you to take away from this little nighttime walk here by the seaside in Bray is that if you haven't found somebody, it's your responsibility, okay? But please don't mistake responsibility for fault. People who think responsibility means fault, they have a negative connotation to it. They haven't understood the freedom that comes with responsibility, okay? If you haven't, in 2020 or 2021, haven't found somebody who could be a right fit for you, somebody that you can spend the rest of your life with, it's because you haven't done the right things, okay? But it means you could start doing the right things. You could start going to these places, meet women, improve your communication skills, build a man-to-woman connection, learn how to move things forward, right? Understand attraction, get out there and find somebody. You don't have to be alone for the rest of your life. Now, most of you are not even going to settle for being alone. Most of you, or most of the ones who are not going to make the decision to do that, they will settle for somebody that they're not even really happy with. They're going to settle for being in a relationship with a woman they're not going to be happy with, and then they're going to be in pain. Because as we explained in other videos, if you have a lack of compatibility in your relationships, you're going to suffer. I want you to understand that as vast as the ocean is, that's exactly as vast as the realm of opportunity is for meeting people. There are 4 billion women in the world if you discriminate for age, okay? If you only take the ones that are roughly in your age bracket, there's 400 million women. 400 million women globally, okay? If you only wanted the top 1%, 4 million women globally, okay? Even if you live in a smaller town, have you really gone and tried to initiate interactions? No. People go to the supermarkets, people go shopping. It doesn't matter what's happening, you still have the right to meet with people. Obviously be safe, right? Follow the guidelines, but you still have the ability to go out there and meet people. It's one of your most fundamental, hey buddy, it's one of your most fundamental human needs, right? Love and connection. They've done experiments where they gave babies everything they wanted, or rather everything they needed physically, right? They gave them food, they gave them water, they gave them shelter, but they didn't give them any physical contact or affection, okay? And the babies died. We have a fundamental psychological need for love and connection. And a lot of people also say, oh, you should be okay with being alone. If you're not okay with being alone, then, or if you don't like being alone, if you have this desperate desire to find somebody, then you're just not okay with being alone. Then there's something wrong with you. You have to master being alone. You know, you don't have to do that. You absolutely don't have to do that. Now, there is a valid argument to the point that if you live life in congruence to your own values, to what you believe to be right, you create a living heaven in this lifetime. But if you live life against your values, you create hell. Okay? If we take the spiritual metaphor, okay, then hell could be looked at in a metaphorical way, right? Whether you're religious or not, doesn't matter at all, right? I'm not even very religious. But you can create a living hell for yourself on this earth if you act not in congruence with your values. If one of your values is kindness and you start treating people like shit, you're going to suffer. If one of your values is productivity and then you're lazy, you're going to suffer, okay? And so on and so forth. So you can create either living heaven or living hell for yourself on this earth, depending how you act. And that is what people oftentimes mean, I think that's what they mean, when they say that you should be okay with being alone. Okay? Because I think what they're alluding to is a congruence in your behavior regarding your values. Now, pardon me, what they forget is that we are innately social beings. We are innately social creatures. We are not meant to be alone. Okay? We've always lived in tribes of many, many other people, right? We've always had people around us. Oh, sorry. Careful with a dog. We've always had people or dogs around us. Hey, buddy. And we're just not made to be by ourselves. Our biology fights against that. Our biology and our psychology is not trained to be an individual on an island somewhere. And that's because we as human beings, we always relied on other men and women to go and hunt, for example, to gather berries, okay, whether you're plant-based or whether you eat meat. Different strategies. You need other people to either gather a sufficient amount of berries or to go and hunt, right? You need other people to protect you against other animals, okay? Because they for sure don't care. They're going to rip you into pieces, okay? So we've always relied on other people. That's why if you spend too much time alone, okay, without the company of high quality men, or without the company of this one special partner, then you're going to suffer. You are inevitably going to suffer, as you're probably experiencing, if you don't spend enough time with high quality people. That's why I emphasize this idea so much, that you have to extend your social circle, right? Meet more people, and especially find people that you have a high degree of compatibility with, not just women, but also men. Okay? The importance of a tribe of men, a group of men, a circle of friends of men who are on a similar path to you, who have certain core values in common, is super, super important, because you are going to feel at home. There's basically 3 areas in life that really matter: health, wealth, and relationships. And relationships is, according to my friend who is a medical doctor and who read studies on it, I didn't read them myself, but he said that those studies exist. And he says these studies say that relationships are the #1 predictor for human happiness. It's relationships. And this is a guy who's all about health. His business is a fitness coaching business, okay? He's plant-based. I'm not plant-based. But he is a fitness guy. His entire life evolves around getting people healthy and fit. And even he says, because you read the studies on it, right, that the #1 predictor for human happiness is going to be relationships. So, what I'd like to invite you to do, as a final note, is to reflect on the enormous amount of opportunities that you have available to you in 2021. It is your responsibility, but responsibility equals freedom. You have the ability to create an extraordinary life for yourself. You have the ability to find somebody with whom you can watch Netflix with, go for walks with, spend an amazing amount of time with, create a family with. Maybe you have children. Maybe you want to have children. Maybe you want to find a partner who's going to get on well with your children. These people exist. The only reason you haven't found them yet is because you haven't made the decision. So what I would like to invite you to do in January of 2021 is to make the decision to get this area sorted, to start taking action. And if you want to learn how you can do that, if you want to learn the single fastest way to find a partner who is right for you, with a system and a process that's been proven over and over again, then apply for a first free coaching call with a link underneath this video. And we're going to design a plan for you based on your individual situation on how you can achieve that. I'm looking forward to speaking with you, and yeah, enjoy nature a bit, and I'll see you soon.